Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. 27th of May. Welcome to High G's. Crikey, I'm just looking here. It is high tonight as well. I need to pat this flipping thing down. I'm excited tonight. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen. My guest tonight, I think of all my guests that have been on. So this guest, some of you'll know. Maybe a lot of you'll know, actually. It's from Stoke. I think he's maybe one of the only people that I know that I think during our time in the Air Force was maybe charged more times than I was. But we'll maybe get into that later. I don't know. I'm not sure. We spent time together in Norfolk when we served and shared a few beverages along the road. And I've met him since we left as well. Caught up at another infamous leaving do of one Mr. David Kinnaird. But anyway, maybe David Kinnaird will come on another night, because tonight I'm going to talk to Mr. Andy Holmes. Please, ladies and gentlemen, say hello to Andy. Hello. How you doing?
Hey, Pinky. How you doing, mate?
I'm very well, thanks. What are you drinking?
Brewdog, Lost.
Oh, nice. I've not heard of that. Was that based on a TV programme?
I think it's one of the new ones, mate. I just got it from down the shop earlier on, so I'm giving it a crack. 4.5%, so it's nothing crazy.
It's all right. How is it?
Yeah, it's nice, mate. It's nice and smooth.
You see what I've been drinking?
Is that non-alcoholic stuff?
Yeah. I've had all the gags, mate, as well.
I'm not gonna pour one on you, Pinky. That's up to you, but it's not for me, pal. That's all I'm going to say on the matter.
Oh dear! Thank you very much for coming on.
Mate, welcome, pleasure.
I was just saying, can I just say to those that have joined us tonight, just what Andy and I were talking about a little bit just before we came on the air here tonight. Andy said, ask him anything. He'll happily talk about anything. And what we were just talking a little bit about some of the other shows, catching up a bit generally. And I'd mentioned to him that quite recently, I have had quite a lot of demand for some ladies on the show, in particular, some ex-RAF ladies on the show. And I mentioned that a number of people have actually made specific requests for people on. So I've been in touch with a few ladies, and I'm not going to mention any names because that
Bernie Perkins, get on.
There you go. What
get on, Bernie. I want to hear from you.
There you go, Bernie. Pick up your phone. Pick up your phone. Get your people to speak to me. I don't have people. It's just me. Anyway, tonight it's you. It's your show, Andy.
Yeah,
I'm quite excited. So the songs that you've chosen, a good choice. There are sometimes that folk have chosen songs that I think one or two that I've not known. I know these ones. I like these ones, but I'm really interested, as I always am, to find out a bit of the story behind them. I kind of, and maybe come as no surprise, I'll maybe throw some questions related to the songs or what's going on in there as well. So, are you bothered about where we start with these? Do you want them in chronology?
No, because I didn't send into any particular date order either. I pull them out of my head, and to be honest, you know what it is. I mean, I can probably pull another 30 or 40 out that I'd like you to mention, but I mean, these are just ones that stick in my mind. So certainly, particularly one of them. But they're just songs that I love, and for different and other particular reasons.
All right. Well, let's start with the one that helped me out today when I was looking for a little bit of music to add to an Instagram story. We won't talk about my Wim Hof inhaling. But I will ask you to tell me about Breathe by The Prodigy, and what the story is with that.
Oh mate, it is the Prodigy. When I first heard them, they were just so innovative and a bit left field for me, and I love that kind of stuff. And I went to see them a couple of times, and the last time I saw them live was I went to Nebworth to see Oasis, and the Prodigy came on just before Oasis, and I wasn't bothered about seeing Oasis after that. They were absolutely amazing. They just smashed it out of the park. They're just so in with the crowd, and the breathe thing was just was mostly a cult neat thing that when it came out, they started playing it in the bar. Yeah. And me and Daz Claxton really loved it, so we would make a point of jumping up and down, but the DJ hated it because it would reverberate on his decks, and there was a few times where he threatened to have us kicked out because we would make a point of making a real big deal about it. But yeah, it's just a fantastic out there tune. But also, if you've seen the video as well, yeah. I was always been a massive fan of Keith Flint anyway. But the whole lot of them, even I can't even remember the guy's name who just dances on there. He's like the Bez of the Prodigy. Even him, there's just something about them, something a bit different, and Breathe itself is just I think it's a tremendous track. It's a bit left field, but it's something that pumps you up, mate. And I thought it was a fantastic tune.
I'm gonna ask, because there's people watching. I'm gonna ask if anybody knows who that is. I think I know the name of the guy, because there was two. So in Prodigy, you had Liam Howlett, who kind of mastermind did all the writing of the tunes. You had Keith.
Yeah, you got Maxime. Maxime is
yeah, the guy that had like snake eyes, didn't he?
Yeah, that's Maxime. And the guy who did dancing, he used to go out with Sarah, what's his name, from Radio 1, who's from Bolton,
Cox.
For a while. Yeah, she used to go out with him. I don't know for how long, but she used to go out with him. And for the moment, I can't remember. I'm sure someone can Google it and let me know.
Is his name Leroy?
It's something like that. I don't think it's Leroy, but it's something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing them at Tea in the Park, and it was I remember them coming on and people saying they shouldn't have been on at the time because they were on before it got dark. Now you'll have seen them at Nebworth with all the lights down. It'll have been late. No. One
Pink, it was in the day. It was still light. So I never got to see them in what I should have seen them then. But I did see them live before that in the dark. But no, they were on before Oasis, and when Oasis come on, it was still a little bit light before it went down. So no, I saw them, and I think the bootleg Beatles were on that day, and also Ocean Colour Scene as well.
Yeah,
who were magnificent, by the way. Ocean Colour Scene, what a great band.
Yeah, you know they always remind me of Adhd. Always.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
always, and all of the boozers in that like crawl that would be undertaken. I was going to say like on a Friday and Saturday night, but it didn't really matter what night you were out. But I always remember that, I think probably because theme tune to TFI Friday, wasn't it? And it was always on. You would have that theme tune on. You would have musical guests on, and then it would be out into Norwich.
Yeah, the Riverboat song. Yeah, that was the one they used, wasn't it?
Yeah. They were a good band. They were
they were cracking. Mate, I saw them in Crew. They did the Crew Academy probably about 10 years ago. You know, when they lost all their being famous and then just started again. But they were still brilliant, mate. They were still professional. They were fantastic live. Great band.
Yeah. What do you remember most about those days?
What the Adhd days?
What stands out? What's kind of like? Do you have like a standout moment? Because I know for me it's kind of a bit of a blur.
I think Pat Penn made a song up at one point about about what we used to do in a week. He'd say something. He'd sing something like Monday neat, going down the town. Tuesday neat, going down the town. Wednesday neat, going down the town. Thursday neat, bop. Friday neat, going to town. Saturday neat, going to town. Sunday, and that's how we'd finish it. But yeah, it was. That's pretty much what we did. Spent a lot of time in Norwich, obviously. Ritzy's were a belter. Used to get in there and drink green monsters. Remember green monsters, Pinky?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you drunk enough green monsters, there's a very good chance that you were getting kicked out that night by the bouncers. Now there was 2 exits of Ritzy's. Now, if you were lucky, they'd throw you down the stone steps. If you were unlucky, they'd open the outside fire exit with your head and then give you a shoeing in the alleyway.
Oh, nice. That ever happened to you, Andy?
I'll say I was there a couple of times. I'm right. I'm right with that was all I expect.
I remember. Do you know what I remember about Ritzy's? They had a sofa that was like a big set of red lips, didn't they? Do you remember them?
No, I don't, mate. But I don't remember a lot about Ritzy's, if I'm honest, Pinky.
And one person always stands out in my mind as well when I think of Ritzy's as well. It's another friend of yours. I've not spoken to him in ages, but a very good guy. Always think of Mr. Wayne Fairclough when I think of Ritzy's.
Oh yeah, he's a cracky. But I'm still in contact with Wayne. I see him quite often.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. He's a policeman in Lincoln now.
Is he?
Yeah. He's doing well for himself, mate. Yeah.
There we go. We've got a few other people on tonight as well. Shall we see? Do you want to say hello to some of the people we've got tuned in?
Yeah.
Pob's on.
Hey, Pob. Long time no see, son.
Pob's just telling us there. Can you see the comments, Andy?
I've just seen Bernie is on Mastermind from Pob. Yes. That's all I can see.
Yeah. We're not going to get Bernie on. She's on Mastermind. Mr. Barlow's in the house. Good evening.
Yeah, Paddy, top
man. There you go. Look, speak of the devil, and he will pop up. Mo's.
Maurice.
Smack my butt. He says, now that is possibly the best music video ever. That's a yeah. I think that was quite controversial at the time, wasn't it?
Very controversial, wasn't it?
Yeah.
In fact, if they made it now, I don't think it'd get out.
No, I don't.
No chance.
Oh, there you go, Delta Mike, Leroy Thornhill.
That's it. That's the lad. Yeah. There you go. Well done, David Lodge. Yeah.
There we are.
You were right. You were right then, mate. Here's Leroy.
Yeah. Smashing. There we go. Right. Let's move on. Right. We'll move on to the next song. But we might not. I do want to ask you some questions. We're going to hop about tonight. So
mate, it doesn't matter, does it?
Nah.
Let's face it. Let's just do what we need to do. It's good.
No. Well, the next song that you've got on is by The Jam.
Oh, mate.
Well, we're naturally going back anyway, so that's cool. So you've got Start.
Yeah.
What's the story with The Jam? I'm guessing with the time.
Look, I picked Start because when I was at school, I was pretty much just towards the end of the mod era.
Yeah.
So I mean, the Jam were early 80s, but I think I picked them up about 80, probably about 83. So I was about 3 years behind, and it was at the time when I don't know if you remember, there was a place called Shelley's Shoes, and they used to make the shoes that the Jam wore. Like they had the Gibsons, which were the black and white ones, and they had the Jam Stage shoes, which were the red, white, and blue ones, and they also had the bowling shoes, which you could have chisel toe or round toe, and then you could have different colours, and it really appealed to me. And the fishtail parkas and the cycling jerseys, and all that kind of the stay press trousers and all that kind of stuff, and it just it got to me, and there's a it's still here now. It's in the village that I live in. It's called the Civic Centre. So we used to get there, and when the jam came on, all local mods used to get up and do the pogo and bits and bobs. And it was my first real introduction to Paul Weller, who's one of my musical heroes. And I think starts if you listen to the words and you listen to the beat, and that it's just it's a cracking bit of music, and probably one of my favourite jam songs as it goes.
So do you think that, like listening to that, it sort of helped kind of mold the direction of your taste, that it kind of went in from there on in, or just...
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think from then on, I would always like it, and I would always like the mod era. So I would backtrack as well. I mean, so you look at like the likes of the Who as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I absolutely love the Who, and my son absolutely loves the Who as well, which I'm so proud of, because I want him to be as eclectic as I am in music. I mean, yeah, but it's always been Weller for me, like through the Style Council and in his solo age as well. I just think he's a fantastic musician, and he's just a very, very clever man.
Yeah. Yeah. What was going on in your life around that time when you kind of got into the jam?
Well, I was still at school then, so getting bullied, which was mint. I was very small at school, so and had a massive mouth on me, which hasn't changed, but it's very hard if you're very small with a massive gob to not get bullied and not get smacked around. So yeah, but don't get me wrong, I had a very happy childhood, but school could be a bit hit and miss, especially when you're as outspoken as I am.
What happened with what happened with the bullying? How severe did that get?
Pretty severe, but just from one person, and he was in my year. He took a dislike to me, and he just wouldn't let it go. And fortunately for me, I had some friends who were older than me who would keep him away from me. But I mean, obviously they couldn't be there all the time, so it'd be indiscriminate type of bullying, of holding you down, spitting in your face, punching you, kicking you off your bike, that kind of stuff. And it wasn't very nice, and this is probably something to do with how I became what I was, with the way I am with people, the way I was with people, where being pretty much in everyone's face, because I think I decided that after being bullied, it wasn't going to happen again. So being bullshit and mouthy and like I was like hopefully would keep people away, because you think if he's going to be like that, maybe there is something about him. Do you know what I mean? Maybe it'll keep them away. Obviously, it's not going to keep everyone away, but if it made people think for a second, then they would leave you alone. Do you understand?
Yeah. Taking preventative measures, like
of course, and it's pretty much it's pretty much done me in good stead, to be fair, because I don't think through my life I've had anyone bully me or take advantage of me again. I mean, I'm not saying it's a moral of the story, but this guy, I saw him about 5 or 6 years ago in a local pub with my brother. We were sat down talking, and he came over, and he hadn't changed at all. He had not changed. He hadn't changed his outlook, and he thought he could start where he left off, and that didn't work out for him very well.
I was just going to say, so did you have a conversation? But now my question is,
and that's all it was, a conversation. There was no fist fight or anything. I pretty much said, look, we're not in fucking school now, mate. If you don't fuck off, I'm going to smack you in the mouth. And he went, and I've not seen him since. So, you know,
I quite like that. Will come as no surprise to you.
But he made my life hell for 2 years. For 2 years, and you know what? When you're small and you can't do anything about it, and they're a lot stronger and bigger than you. So I developed a lot later than a lot of kids, and there was nothing I could do about it unless my bigger mates were around. I just had to take it. So that was, but I learned from that.
Did that have anything to do? You say that was maybe responsible, for you being the way that you were. Did it have anything to do with your decision to join the RAF?
No. My decision to join the RAF was pure and simply because before I went to school of a morning, I used to work in a place called Village Greens, which was a greengrocer's basically. And I had a friend called Ian Wright, and we used to talk while we were doing things in the morning, sorting the shop out, and that we used to talk about joining the RAF as PTIs. He was very fit. Well, I was quite fit at the time, and there was something we always wanted to do. But so the RAF was always pretty much in my mind. The PTI thing dropped off, but I was always fairly determined to join the RAF. So no, it's nothing to do with getting away and escaping. It was more to do with something that I'd set my mind on at the time.
Right. Okay. So you joined up.
Yeah.
You did your training.
Yeah, West Drayton. Yeah.
So that would be, when was that? Was that 88 that you did?
88, yeah. 88, yeah.
And how did that sort of because you did the same as me, didn't you? You kind of did. You went through your training and then you went straight up to Buchan, right?
Yeah. So we were course 271. So but we had some pretty decent lads. I mean, Dave Pike. Just going back a bit, I'd met Dave Pike at Swinderby.
Yeah.
Neither of us knew we were going in the same trade, and we were talking. We were queuing up for the phone one day, and we started talking there. And then it just came to pass that we were going to West Drayton, and then Pikey was on my course, and he's also my best man at my wedding, which is quite a nice thing. But yeah, so me and Pikey and a few others went to West Drayton, and it obviously after Swinderby, anything's casual, isn't it? So West Drayton was actually quite a good laugh, right in London, and you pretty much got away with a lot more than you did at Swinderby.
Yeah. Did you end up doing the local police station lineup when you were at West Drayton?
No, I didn't. But what I did do stupidly one night was obviously we'd been down to I can't remember. It was called the Six Bells, and it had a sports bar on the side of it. Right. So we'd been in there. Now, when I was younger, I always thought I was a really good drinker, but I wasn't. I was pathetic. So I was always pissed before everyone else, but I always thought I could drink. Anyway, so we'd only had about 4 pints, and we were going back, and it was early doors. So there was about 7 or 8 of us, and I said, "Tell you what, give me all your ID cards, and when we get to the gate, I'll show them all in a wanna." So we got there, and this MOD guard was there, and I went, "Look at my ward," the old Harry Enfield thing. Anyway, as you can imagine, he didn't see any funny side of it, and I had to have a chat with Di Dempsey the next day about it. But yeah, it just made us stand there and hand them all back. It just made me look a prick, and actually I probably was, but it was. I thought it was funny at the time. It's one of them things where you think it's going to go really well and funny, and then just you fall on your arse.
Oh, Craig! I tell you what, mate. If between the two of us, we had like £1 for every time we'd done that, we'd be very rich men.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt, mate. There's no doubt about that. Bad decisions are us. Bad decisions are us. We should have called ourselves thinking.
I know. Tell me about it. So you made it through West Drayton. Any standout moments? Any more standout moments there?
What from Drayton? Nah, mate.
Yeah.
It's a blur from Drayton, and you still. But you're in training still, aren't you? So you still as lax as it was compared to Swinderby, you're still towing the line, aren't you? You don't get out of order in training because there's the backflight and all that kind of stuff they can do to you. So I just remember I remember speaking to Di Dempsey one day, and he just said, "Look, no matter where you put in, you're going to go to Buchan because that's where you need to go." So that was my option. I knew I was going regardless.
I love that. You're going there because
Well, I think he just thought Booker was a lot more character building than Adhd. So he said, "I don't care what you put him for. We're sending you to Booker.
Get up there.
Get up there. Get right up there."
Do you think it's fair to say that that's when life kind of changed for a lot of people?
Oh my God! Yeah. It was. It's like you. I remember going up there on the train because I'd come home for, I think you get a week's leave, don't you, or something like that, and then I had to get the train up to Aberdeen, and you got these sketchy directions of how to get to what was Newton Farm Lodge at the time. But if you go and speak to the fucking coach bloke, he doesn't know where Newton Farm Lodge is. He's got no idea. So I've gone on with about 10 bags over me. I'm about 1 foot tall. Hey, can we get to Newton Farm Lodge? He goes, where's Newton Farm Lodge? I'm like, RF booking. Anyway. Fortunately for me, there's a lad who, I think, what's his name, Steve Rowan or something like that, Scooter they used to call him. He just happened to be behind me. As I was getting, he helped me get my bags on, and he told the bloke where we need to go, and so I got off, and then he helped me get my bags up to the guard room right when I got to NFL. So yeah, that was quite daunting.
It's funny how that happens. I remember exactly the same thing. I just remember getting on the bus, telling him where I was going, and then the bus driver shouting at me when he stopped. Just shouting RAF Bucking, and that was it. And when I was like, where is it? And he was just like, this is your stop.
This farm here, walk up that track up there, turn left again, you'll see the barrier, get yourself in.
Yeah.
Madness.
Yes, indeed. So RAF Bucking years, how long did you spend there?
Oh mate, I've been there twice. So the first time I wasn't there very long. I was there from 88 was it back end of 89? I left December 89 because I got posted to Ash. So it was quite a short stay, to be honest. But in that 18-month period was quite funny. George Walker, the policeman, will tell you all about that. Oh, he absolutely loved me, Pinky. I was his number one mate.
That is a name I am very, very familiar with.
Mate. So George Walker took an instant dislike to me, and I can understand that. You've got a 5'8" gobshite who does not know when to shut up, and he hated me, and I get it 100%. But yeah, so the day that I fell out with George Walker properly was me and, I don't know if you met a bloke called Lee Walker, who's good mates with me when I first got there. You know Lee?
Yeah.
So we'd gone out on not a full day session, but a mini day session, came back probably about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we were singing. But we thought, because you lose all time or what day it is, because you work 2 days, 2 nights, 4 off, we thought it was the weekend, but it wasn't. So we walked past the CO's office singing. And so the CO's looked out and gone, right, RF police, go and have a word with them. So Lee's gone back to his anyway. George Walker's knocking on my door. And I'm going, fuck. I'm just telling him to fuck off, basically. And he goes, no, you need to open this door now. I went, no, George, fuck off. I'm going to bed. Anyway, I opened it, and he arrested me. And I was the first person to get put in the new bottom cells just as they built them. But the funny thing was, I was still arguing then, and I kicked the cell door at him, and it knocked him over.
What, you kicked it open?
No. As he put me in there, as he walked out, I kicked the cell door at him, and it knocked him over. Right. So he went, right, that's assault on that charge. Anyway, so we went to my flight commander. And do you remember Nick Moon?
Yes.
Right, so Nick Moon was one of our calls at the time, and he'd seen me earlier on. So he stood there and said that I wasn't drunk, and he categorically said I wasn't drunk, and that George Walker was just being an officious prick. Anyway, he dropped the charge. So that night, I got leathered. I was in Granada, G, and George Walker was in there. So it's funny thinking about. Yeah, the same night my charge had been dropped. We were out pissed, and George Walker was in. Now, Thinking about it now, it's not something I would do now, but I went straight up to her and I went, "Hey, George, here about it got dropped. Fucking wanker." Why would you do that?
Because
It just made
you were 18,
an
19?
idiot. Yeah, but I mean, all I was doing was antagonising the bloke who he just followed me around for the rest. Well, unfortunately, I wasn't there for that much longer, but he just followed me around. And honestly, he watched me all the time. He hated me, and I don't blame him.
So, in actual fact, what I'm kind of hearing here is that that George Walker's dislike for Scopies started with you.
I don't know if it started with me, but he certainly didn't like us. Obviously, I was in Gannet Block.
Yeah.
I think the girls were in. Was it Flamingo Block? The girls were in.
No, I was in Flamingo Block.
Oh no, Flamingo Block was. What were the girls in then?
The girls were in. Was it Swallow and Sparrow?
Possibly.
I do remember that they were in a block called Swallow, which I just thought was great.
That might be it then. And it followed them around because the WAF block cult was salmon, wasn't it?
If this doesn't provoke some ladies to come on, I don't know what. Well,
yeah, but I don't mean any offence, but I mean there must have been someone with a sense of humour that was making them not making the names up or actually allocating the people inside of them. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Oh dear, Gary Barlow is correct in us. He's saying that the names of the blocks were Swallow and Spit. Oh dear, my good lady wife doesn't look like she's too impressed.
Sorry, Karen.
Yeah. Oh look, we better apologise. Boss is in.
I can't do that because it was funny.
Vicky's saying blokes must have named the blocks.
Oh, Vicky Franklin said that, did she?
Yeah.
Mate, I've got some belters about Vicky and Jan Barlow. They were absolutely fucking vile with us. But it makes me laugh. I spoke to her about it. She won't mind me telling you. But, oh my God. No, just her and Jan Barlow, they were evil with us LACs, mate. Honestly, you couldn't move. They made honestly, you were scared to death of them, and you know why. I remember one time I got signed up on Jorsk as an LAC, right, by Carolyn Oakley, and she forgot to sign my training file. So the next day I went in, I was on Jorsk, and Jan Barlow came in and said, "What are you doing on here? LACs don't do fucking Jorsk." I went, "But I'm signed up, She fucking stormed off. Checked my training record, right? And Carolyn Oakley hadn't signed it. She come in and got me by me and dragged me off Jorsk with my bloody headset on. I'm trying to take it off, pulled me out.
Yeah, there were a few. There were a few.
I did love you, Vicky. Absolutely, you were hilarious, both of you.
Oh, yeah. Yes, me too. And she knows that because I've told her over and over. Why don't you come on the podcast, Vicky?
She should do. Harsh but fair. Vicky Flankenbaum, brilliant. Yes. Some good memories.
Indeed. Should we go on to your next song? I don't want to.
Yeah, please.
I don't go on to your next song yet, but we will.
Is it Bros? Is it Bros?
So, well, do you know what? One of the questions, you don't have Bros on the list, but one of the questions that Mr. Large said to me, you've got to ask him. In fact, he didn't even say you've got to ask him. He just said, if Bros isn't on Andy's list, then it's not the real Andy Holmes.
Right, okay, so the reason I didn't put Bros on there, Paddy Barlow would be fuming as well, because I drove him mad about Bros. Look, just before I joined the Air Force, Bros came out. And I'm going to be brutally honest with you, I quite liked him, and it's your guilty pleasure. At that time, they were good-looking lads, they were pulling loads of girls, and I was thinking, yeah, brilliant, I'll get some Gross bottle tops in my shoes as well, let's see how this goes. And, you know, they were all harmless, pretty boys, and you thought, you know what, they're making a bit of money, and the music was harmless, and me and Lee Walker actually went to see them.
So I was with you right up to the point where you went, I went to see them.
No, we did. We went to see him, mate. It's the greatest thing I've ever done in my life. Seriously. Oh, mate, brilliant. If you, mate, bear in mind, I think it was probably about 18 or 19 at the time. I had spiky blonde hair. I wore gross bottle tops in my shoes and all the bros gear. How do you think that went with all the girls that were in there, mate?
I was gonna
It's
say,
amazing.
I bet you loved it. I bet you didn't leave
Oh,
alone.
mate, 100%. It's absolutely fantastic. Look, music wise, when you asked me to give you music that I remember things by, then that's what I've given you. But I can't deny that I still have got a soft spot for Bros. Take it or leave it. I don't mind, mate.
Mate, can you see what Karen's written? She said, Mr. Pinkster loved Bros too.
I'm sure he did. If he had blonde hair, he'd have the same hair as Matt Goss now. Look at the clip of him.
that was the only thing, was that my hair was so dark. It was like, the closest I was like that Scottish flipping drummer that just looked miserable all the time. He wasn't that great.
Yeah. I think the thing about music is, Pigs, and like I spoke to you about being eclectic with music, there's not much that really offends me. And if I like it, I like it. And if people don't like the fact that I like it, then that's more their issue than mine, to be honest. We've all got a guilty pleasure. I like Justin Timberlake, for Christ's sake. I think he's brilliant. I've been to see him.
Have you?
Yeah, me and Emma went to see him in Manchester. I tell you what, regardless of what you think of him, he's absolutely magnificent live.
Right, and I'll bet he puts on a show.
Unbelievable, mate. He's fantastic. Seriously. There's all sorts of stuff that people pull their face about that I say I like. But then again, there's other stuff that I love. Everyone will go, yeah, that's brilliant. But of course, that's going to be the case. Right. I just don't like Mumford and Sons.
I'm not a massive fan of them myself.
What are they all about? I've no idea what they're about. Honestly, they're like meh. What's the point? And there's no point in Mumford and Sons. Seriously, go away. You're rubbish.
For me, it just kind of goes. It doesn't really do anything. But
it's that inoffensive. It offends me.
Yeah.
If you get that, I definitely don't make sense of that. But yeah.
No, I know exactly what you mean. I know what you mean. Okay, let's go on to the next one, because I as I said to you just before we came on, I had to think about this one a little bit, and I'm gonna look for it, see if I can find it. So it's more of a dancey song from the 90s called
it definitely is, yeah.
Yeah, Take Me Away by
True Faith.
True Faith.
Yeah, it's an absolute tune, mate. It's I do love dance music, and I heard this when I was at Ash. I went to there's a couple of clubs down there, and this came on one night. I'd never heard it before. I was like, this is a really, really good tune, but I never heard it again, and it stuck in my mind. And it's one of the, it's well before the days of Spotify and Google and the internet, anything like that. If you heard something, if no one else knew what you're talking about, there's a very good chance you would lose that song forever, because you'd never find it again, especially if it's something eclectic or something that's come off a white label or something like that. So it sort of hit me, and I'm like, Christ, I need to hear that again. Anyway, luckily, I was meant to go to Benitzi's with Pikey and Taff Bennett, and I didn't have enough money, so they went, and then I think I won 500 quid on the RF lottery, something like that. So I just booked flights, and I thought they didn't even know I was coming. And all I had on this bit of paper was, it was called the Velastos Apartments. I'll never forget it. The Velastos Apartments, Benitzi's. So I flew with Dan Air, cheap as shit, landed there, got a taxi to Benitzi's with my suitcase and a bag, walking down the road. This is the luckiest bit you'll ever make. I bumped into their rep. Could have been anywhere. Oh, excuse me, love. Do you know the last response? You know, yeah, well, I'm the rep for that. It's just down there. And she showed me where it was, and I turned up. They didn't know I was coming. Turned up with my bags and stayed there for a week on their sofa. Anyway, but I digress. But the first night we were out, Take Me Away came on, True Faith. So I went to see the DJ and found out what it was, and that's how I know what it was, and that's how I got hold of it.
Right. So it reminds you of that holiday.
It reminds me. It reminds me of that holiday, but all that period of the early '90s. Because once I found out what it was, I went and got it, and I used to play it quite a bit. It's an absolute tune. If you like dance music, especially the old school type of stuff, then yeah.
I've noticed recently a lot of dance music, and I've not listened to a lot of dance music as I've got older, but I'd put on a dance podcast or something. It was I think it was Apple Beats, and a lot of the dance music that I seem to I've heard, I think a lot of what's out now, it seems to remind me of the early 90s. There's a lot of stuff it's like got real a lot of piano beats in it. It's got a lot of piano music kind of coming through it. And
they seem to be regressing back to how they started in the first place. There's a lot of that Toddler T and another artist. They're doing that kind of stuff. They're going back to how it started.
Yeah. So what can you tell me of that holiday, or is that detachment rules?
No, mate, I can't remember a lot about it. What I do remember is me and Taff Bennett didn't want to sunbathe all day. They were like that Pikey and I can't remember John Hughes. I can't remember the other lad who was with us. He wasn't from Buchan, but the lads who from somewhere else. He's RAF. I just can't remember his name. So they were lining up. So me and Taff Bennett were in all the bars watching reruns of Only Fools and Horses, getting pissed. So, which was ridiculous. I couldn't drink anyway, so you can imagine the state of me. And that's drinking in a day, and then we'd go for something to eat, and we'd be out. So I'd be like coming back at 10:30, smash. That's how it was.
So did you say that you just got a flight out there? All and just went and slept on their sofa.
Well, I was meant to go with them originally. But when it came to booking it, I just didn't have the cash at the time. I was obviously pissing up the wall. And then they were out. They'd been out there nearly a week, and I came into a bit of cash. So I just bought flight only and didn't tell them I was coming, and just thought I'll find them. Yeah. That could have gone really wrong. Actually, I was just really lucky.
Brilliant. I love it. So you did like a year at Buchan, and then
just over a year at Buchan. Then I went to Ash.
Yeah, and then you went to Ash. Now, I think that my recollection is, although we were stationed at Neatishead at the same time, I think Ash is where I think I met you for the first time.
Did you come on your conversion course down there?
Yeah,
probably.
You were down there. I think I was on one of the first courses. I was on like course number 4 or something like that. And I remember coming down there, doing the whole, getting the lay of the land from you guys, right? You'll be wanting to go over and do a trip over to France. You'll be wanting to do this. You'll be wanting to have a night out down in Ramsgate, a night out in Margate. You'll be wanting to do this, that, and the other. That's where I remember. So, how long did you have it at Ash then in total?
I think I was there for about 3 years. I think.
Right.
Yeah, about 3 years, mate. Honestly, it's got some of the biggest highs of my life and probably some of the biggest lows as well. It's just, and again, we talk about some of the things we do, but every single thing that I was in the shit for was alcohol related. Every single one. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. And I remember you speaking to Pat Penn about how alcohol changes you, and how you sometimes if you're feeling bad about yourself, you have a few drinks that make yourself feel better.
Yeah.
Or if you're a bit down on that, it's like you rely, but then you get to rely on it. So when you are feeling down, the only thing is to just keep going drinking. And I don't blame anyone for it, but I do think that the drinking culture in the forces is it's so well promoted and it's a positive if you go out on a day, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is what we do. We got on a full day on our days off. On our 4 days off, we go and do at least 2 day sessions, and especially for someone who at the time, although I didn't maybe not see it, I was very naive, and I had a really shit relationship with alcohol because it's a great thing in moderation, but we never did it in moderation. We always went over the top, and you can guarantee every single time, or at least 90% of the time, you're in the shit over it. You've done something because you didn't know when to stop, and then obviously you had no boundaries at all. It was so you can understand how people got into trouble. I mean, I was very lucky. I did get into trouble quite a bit actually, but I mean, I came out the other side. Some people didn't.
Yeah, and it's, you know, we've kind of spoken about it on some of like the Zoom catch ups that we've done as well. It's like, you know, there's some real tragic stories. You know, people that we know and people that are not with us any longer, people that have just, you know, and it's sad. But you're right. It was like at the time and at that age, it was kind of booze was the answer to everything. I've got 4 days. I've got 4 days off. Oh, let's go and have an all day. I've had a shit week. Let's go and get pissed. I've broken up.
You think you're indestructible as well, Pinky. You think you're indestructible and nothing's going to affect you, but unfortunately, that's just a facade. That's the beer talking. That.
Yeah.
I mean, it hasn't really helped me. It didn't really help me. I mean, we spoke about it, so I don't mind anyone knowing this. I've recently been diagnosed as having ADHD, and I found that out because we noticed traits in my son, we noticed traits for me. Now, what ADHD is about dopamine and getting enough dopamine in your brain, which is why your mind works differently to other people. Now, that means if you don't get enough dopamine, you don't feel very good about yourself. And to get dopamine, you have to do things. So, like for instance, people might say I'm rude because I talk over you. It's not because I'm being rude. It's because I have to say it at that moment. It's not me being rude. It's little things like this that I've only just realised through my life why things have been how they've been. Yeah. And I've only learned that from my son because we've noticed, and he's ADHD and he's getting the right stuff. But obviously, when I was at school, there's no such thing as ADHD. There's no such thing as mental health, really. It's just they were naughty boys. I mean, I did pretty well at school considering, but I spoke to my specialist and she said if there had been a specialist who knew about ADHD at the time, I'd have done so much better because they've got things in place. So, so some of the things that I've done, I'm not saying that's not my fault, but what I'm saying is there is reasons why I've done things, especially if people think I'm being rude, or when I seem more excited than anyone else, or I need to go and do something, or I need to drink alcohol to make myself feel better. It's this getting this dopamine into my brain. So if I don't, that's why I feel down.
Yeah, it seems a very good time. I had written a question down here, and it's probably, it may be this, it might be something else. I'm gonna ask what your biggest challenge has been in the last year and how you've overcome it.
In the last year, I think the biggest challenge has been homeschooling. If I'm honest, I think it's very hard with a boy who's got ADHD to try and sit him down to curriculum when we're not teachers, we're not trained teachers, and they send you stuff that you've got to do. And don't get me wrong, his school's been brilliant. They've been doing Zoom calls and that, but trying to set something down for an ADHD boy, because you can't force them to do anything. And when he's had enough, he's had enough. So what do you do? Do you force him to do it, or do you try and force him to do it, or just let him go? So me and Emma have spoke about this a couple of times, and you know, we didn't fail at it. But it was very, very, very hard to try and get him to do what we thought he needed to do. So we made cuts where we could and made sure that he did the bit, the English and maths bit, but anything that was ancillary to that, we just left it, because actually he's only 8 years old, and if he's going to learn this sooner or later if he gets the basics of everything else. And he's a clever lad as well. So you know, but that's challenging, mate. It hasn't been nice. It's not been nice being cooped up. Just the three of us, as much as it was in the first couple of months of lockdown. You know, everyone needs their own space and needs to see other people. I mean, I was going upstairs for an hour on my own, and we were just getting sick of each other. So yeah, I think that's probably been but Evan's definitely been the biggest challenge of this year, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're right. You know, you maybe go and spend. We found this as well, and it's you know, I was giving you the tour of High G's here. You know, which is as people know, it's just my loft, and it's been great to come up. And I say escape, but the reality is I don't think that we mean that, do we? When we say escape, it's just that, before all of this lockdown, we had time on our own. We had time to ourselves.
Yeah.
It's just that we've had to have that time to ourselves in the same house as, 2, 3, 4, and sometimes more people, because nobody's going anywhere. So
Yeah.
it's very, very challenging. Good to kind of get that space on your own as well. But I bet you've learned a lot about yourself and your family in that time as well. So I was
sorry, go on.
No, I was just gonna ask you, in the time that you've kind of spent, my eyes have been opened. I've kind of got a brand new appreciation, not only for my good lady wife, but even my, both my daughters, one of whom that's with us and one who's not. What I was gonna ask you was, in what ways do your family inspire you?
Well, my son inspires me because of being ADHD and me now realizing what he's having to go through to I don't want to say normal, but to function at school without losing his shit. It's his sensory perception is so completely different to all these other kids. So he inspires me, the fact that if he's dealing with it, I certainly can. I have done, to be fair, and I think it's the structure of the RAF, which is probably why it was never picked out with me, because the structure is good for ADHD people, but also my wife as well. I mean, she's put up with 2 ADHD people in the house. I mean, that must have drove her absolutely insane. Can you imagine that?
I know. Well,
I mean, the first 2 weeks of lockdown, I just got shit faced every single night, thinking it was a holiday, until she kindly reminded me that we had a son to homeschool and there was things to do in the house.
They're very, very good like that, and we're very lucky men, right?
Yeah, we are, absolutely. And that changed my perception, and that's when I started training, and I was training 4 or 5 times a week then, and she's good at persuading me to do things. So in her own way.
Yeah, so I was going to say about that. So you're saying, like, you got shit faced for 2 weeks. You kind of had a bit of a shake from the person that does it best.
Yeah, of course, the boss.
The boss. And so you've got this. You know yourself that you've been diagnosed with ADHD.
Recently, yeah.
We've got onto that through the booze as well. So how's that changed your relationship with booze since then to now?
Well, I'll be honest with you, Pinky. It's never ideal, because it's as much as I don't go and do day sessions, or I don't do 3 or 4, 5 days on the trot. That there are still times now when I get one on, if you know what I mean, shed on, and I'll come home from work. It's my last day in work. I've got a few days off, and that night a bit of excess goes on, and that's how it is.
How do you cope with that? And how do you cope with it? Well, not with that, right? Because I loved your comment earlier on about, I used to think I was a big drinker. I wasn't. That was me.
Pathetic.
Absolutely. So when you have more than a few now, how does that affect you? And how does that affect you in, like, the day after, or a couple of days after? How does that?
Oh, I'm miles better now than I was 18. Put it that way. Look, it's not 4 ciders. Thank you very much. Good night. But what I did do was, when lockdown came and I started training, I didn't stop drinking. In as much as I would still have a few beers at night time, but what I did do was, if I felt bad in the morning, I would force myself out of bed and go and train anyway, as much as you don't want to do it, because you know how great you feel when you exercise. And that's always been the case. I mean, you you could go the opposite way, saying I can't be arsed, lie in bed till 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, go and get yourself a bacon and egg sandwich and then piss around all day and then start again. But that's not how I did it. So as I said to Emma, I don't see the point or the fun in doing all this training but not being allowed to have a drink. I mean, what's the point in that? But there is ways and means of doing both and having a happy medium as well. So
yeah. So I'm gonna just on the training side of things there as well. I asked this one. I usually ask this last, but I'm going to ask you this now because we call this the JFDI podcast.
Yeah.
And it's as great a time to ask you how you apply or if you apply a sort of and when a JFDI approach to life.
Well, I think I did it straight after the boss had a word with me, so that was it, wasn't it? So I then decided that I would be training at least 4 to 5 times a week. I would adjust my my calorie intake and what I ate for that week. I'd have one day where I would treat myself. I wouldn't stop drinking alcohol, but if I did feel bad, I would still go force myself to train. And I think that's the way to do it. You know, you've got to have a little bit of a treat, otherwise it's purposeless, and you'll stop doing it in the end if there's nothing at the end of it. But also when you start seeing the results that you do from your exercise, and also you actually don't feel as bad in the morning if you're exercising every day when you've had a few beers as well.
Yeah, just
that's
getting
that's what I found.
Yeah, absolutely. Just getting that sweat on.
100%.
Just it just changes. I mean, I've kind of got to the point of I used to train periodically, but I kind of really when I can now I try to do something every day.
It doesn't have to be a lot, but it has to be something.
Yeah. It just makes such a difference. So here's one for you. Before we do your last song, I've got a couple of questions. So looking back, because we've not even talked about sort of when you left yet. We'll come on to that in a sec. But looking back, what advice would you give to the young Andy about to join the RAF? What one bit of advice would you give to your younger self, looking back?
Don't tackle the Bryce Norton winger on the sideline from the sidelines at the Binbrook Bomb when you're not playing.
What happened there?
So when I got to Ash, I started getting into rugby. I started playing for Whitstable, and I really got into rugby. So a few of the lads at RF Manson and RF Ash, we put RF Ash and RF Manson team together, and we went to the Binbrook Bomb. We got knocked out in probably the first round because we were absolute shite. But there's bars and everything, so I got absolutely K-lied, and I think it was the final against, which it's a sevens competition, so it was the final against Bryce and Odie, if I remember rightly. And the Odie, it was either the Odie, I can't remember now, it was either the Odie or the Bryce winger was in on for a try, and I tackled him from the sideline in my jeans and stopped him scoring a try. And they actually lost because the ref couldn't make a decision what to do about it. He obviously couldn't award him a try because some knobhead had jumped in and tackled him from the sideline. So then I had to go and hide for about an hour and a half in the toilets because both I can't remember if it was Bryce or Odium team were going to lynch me. I had to wait until they'd all gone and we got in the minibus and went home. That was interesting.
Dear God.
I think it was in the RF news actually, Pinky. My earphones have gone again.
Have they?
Yeah.
It made the
I think it's in the
RAF
RF news, something about drunken idiot tackling someone or something. I can't remember. But yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah, don't do that. It's not good for you.
Crikey. And one more before we go on to your last song. I have it on good authority that during your RAF career, maybe when you were at Ash, that you actually wrote a song. We've got a comment here from Mr. Large who said, Andy wrote a song about the crisping in, traditional ales, fine wines, good food, and coffee mornings. Do you remember
No,
any lyrics, or do you want to sing
no,
us a few
no.
bars?
No, I didn't write that. Jim Hunt did.
Oh, there you go,
Jim
Dave.
Hunt wrote it while I was with him. Oh, the bloody Crispin, oh, the Crispin. Across the road from the Old Bell Hotel, traditional ales, fine wine, good food, and coffee mornings. Oh, the bloody Crispin, we love you so. Yeah, I remember him doing it. It's Jim Hunt, not me. Can't take the credit for it, but I was there.
There you go.
Tommy Payne lived there as well, was one of the lines. Tommy Payne lived there across the road from the old Fleur de Lis, something like that. Yeah, it was Jim Hunt, not me.
Have you heard from him in recent years?
No, I think he came on Facebook and I said hello to him once, but he didn't. He just said hello back. He didn't try and converse or anything.
Yeah, there you go.
Funny man.
Yes, very, very,
Very
funny.
funny.
Yes, indeed. So, all right. Wait. So when did you tell me when did you leave? What are and kind of when did you leave? What sort of what point in your career had you got to? And what was happening? What was the kind of thinking? And then potted tour of like then till now.
So I'd amazingly got to the rank of sergeant, which no one in the world could believe. And then I got thank you, sir. And then I got posted to Northwood in Middlesex, and I was working in NATO maritime intelligence.
Very nice.
How Scopey's got in there, I don't know. Anyway, at the time, that's when I met my wife, who, if anyone doesn't know, is Lucy Dolby Mackay Chetry's sister.
Yes, I knew that. I think.
Okay. So
yes,
that's my wife, Emma. So I met her through Lucy and Raj at the time. Well, no, I'd known her a lot of years before that, but that's how I met her. And that's when we got together when I was at Northwood in 2006.
right.
2006 or 2016? 2006.
2006.
Yeah. So we got together then, and then obviously things started progressing. We were going to get married, and I wanted to live near a home, so I put in for AFCO duties, and I managed to get AFCO Coventry.
Right.
So I moved home then because I could. They gave me a train pass, and I went to and fro from Coventry from home every single day, and then it came to a point where they said I was getting promoted to flight sergeant, but they wanted to post me to Bulmer.
Right.
And I said, well, I've only been in AFCO for like 8 months. What a waste of training. Why don't you? As at the time that there was an opening for flight sergeant area AFCO, which covered Coventry, and they wouldn't give it to me.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I'll tell you what, and if you don't give me that, I said, I've never complained anything you get. I'll just push the fucking button and I'm off. So me and Emma went to New York for our first wedding anniversary.
Yeah.
And when we were out there, I just said to her, look, I either stay on for the rest or I push it. And I think I was just over 40 at the time, so I qualified for my pension. And she said, it's up to you. And I said, fuck it, I'll push it. And that was it. Pushed it when I went back. And that was it. Ciao. I was out in 3 months.
What? Brilliant. Just like that.
Yeah.
Any regrets?
Yeah. Mate, there's always regrets, isn't there? I mean, I remember the day I gave my ID card back in at where was I? Not Cranwell. Trying to think where the bloody place. Where's the aircraft museum near Birmingham? Cosford. I had to go to Cosford. I had to go to Cosford to have my uniform back in and my ID card. And I've never seen this from suppliers before because they usually don't give you anything. But when I gave him a card and he knew I'd done 23.5 years, he said, "What do you want to keep?" And I said, "Can I keep my number ones? And can I keep my berry? And can I keep my Gore-Tex?
Yeah.
You can have the rest back." And he let me have it. I said, "Yeah, no problem." And then I went and gave my ID card in to admin, and I drove out the gates, and that's when it hit me. that
Mm.
all that time, from boy to man, it was gone, and that was the end of it. And it was quite upsetting, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's like there's no going back now. You've given it in. What are you going to do? Well, I actually knew what I was going to do, but it's still like an end of an era type of session.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is getting a bit depressing. Do you want me to tell you some of my funny stories, Pinky?
Yeah. Yeah. I do.
No, it's true. It's true that things, and it took me a while to get my head around that, because I went to be self-employed after that as an electrician. Fucking hated it. Hated every minute of it. I was on my own, mate. Loads of money to be had, loads of work on. You're up in someone's loft, rewiring someone's loft on your own. What's the fucking fun in that? No one to speak to. Boring as shit. That wasn't for me. So
Didn't last.
I'll go on to what I'm doing now a bit later on. But I'm just going to talk to you about some of my notes. I've made some notes, Pinky.
Go on.
So you've heard the Binbrook bomb one, obviously.
Yeah.
There's a couple of other things. Manston Air Show. We used to do Manston Air Show from Ash. We used to help them do it. So we always look forward to that, because what they used to do was they'd give us the car parking duties. Now, car parking duties for that was taking money off people.
Right.
So what they would give you is one car parking pass, which was accountable for by cash.
Yeah.
But because you didn't know how many people were coming that car, all your people passes were free, pretty much. So if you had 10 people that come in a car, they'd pay for the parking, and you give them 10 tickets. So we clicked on quite easily, because we look after the car park, never give out the car parking tickets, take the 10 quid, and give them how many tickets, because they weren't accountable. So everyone was at it, and everyone had about 500 quid by the end of the day. Can I get prosecuted for that now? Is this?
I don't think so.
Am I accountable for that? I don't know.
And so when you went back, they were like, "You've got all of these tickets to hand back." And,
yeah, well, you had to be clever. You didn't do it for all of them. You would say, 3 in accountable.
Yeah.
Take your tenner. 3 in accountable. Take your tenner. Because there was thousands of people coming in.
I only ever did. I remember doing Twickenham when we were at Wickham, and there were lots of my eyes were opened. There was lots of things going on. There was help around the bar at Twickenham when we were at strike, and that seemed to pay well.
Yeah. We haven't talked about the Falklands, Pinky, have we?
I'm going to say, what else is on your list? You got any Falklands?
The Falklands, it's not that funny, but I went to the Falklands in '94, and it was at the same time that Pat Penn and Stu McCann went as well. I was at Byron with Davey Kinnaird, by the way. So we decided that you can go on R&R.
Yeah.
Me, Scouse McCann, and Pat had decided we're doing our R&R at Kent. Anyway, the OC of Kent knew us, and he said, "There's no fucking way I'm having Penn, Holmes, and McCann on the same side. He wouldn't let us go. We all had to go on different R&Rs. I don't know why. Miserable sod."
Oh yes, indeed. You didn't do any. It's recently come to my attention. Somebody who will remain nameless, but you can have a guess who it might be, sent me a video of a cannon at Kent. It was made out of those I'm sure it was like the baked bean tins, and they were all stuck together, and there was like the use of petrol fumes, and it fired various pieces of food out of this cannon.
Nah,
never heard of that.
I was never at Kent, mate. I was at Byron.
Ah, right, okay. I'm sure it was Kent. So
they wouldn't let me go to Kent, would they? Because Pat and bloody McCann were there.
So you never actually got to go?
No, they didn't let us go. My R&R was at Byron. No, that's bollocks. I went to Alice. I went to Alice with John Hughes.
Oh dear. Right, let's do your last song, because I think it might be your favourite. Massive
It will
Attack,
be.
Unfinished Sympathy. Same one as Mr. Penn. So what's your story? I mean, it's a great song. It's a great song. Always takes me right back. But is there something really special about it for you?
Well, it was when I was down at Ash, to be honest, and I just bought a new stereo from my room. And this lad, I can't remember his name now, he lent me a CD, Blue Lines. He went, "You need to listen to this." And I put it in, and I heard the first couple of tunes, and then that came on, and I was like, I need to listen to that again. And then I listened to it about 3 or 4 times. Like, that's absolutely unbelievable. And then I realised it was Shara Nelson who was singing on it, and she's absolutely phenomenal anyway. And she, it's one of those live moments where you hear something and go, "Do you know what? That is an absolute fucking tune." And I don't know how many times I've listened to it now. It never ever gets old for me, ever.
Yeah.
And I've done that with music where I've listened to it that much, I am sick of it. I don't think I'll ever get sick of this tune ever. It's amazing. It's an amazing tune. It's an amazing video. And do you know what? They're an absolutely amazing band, Massive Attack.
Yeah, very underrated, I think. Yeah, and again, they're kind of styles. They've done some quite different, some fairly not massively experimental, but within their genre, they've done quite a lot of really different stuff. Yeah.
They're what I would call eclectic. They do all things. They're not just down one road. They're very forward thinking about what they do as well.
Yeah,
they're an amazing band. Really
one of their songs I put on a collection, like a compilation I did for our first daughter being born. It was Teardrop. Another one of their songs that's just absolutely
fantastic,
absolutely brilliant. So there we go, 4 songs, a bit of a tour in the life of Andy Holmes. So what's happening now? You mentioned about the electrician malarkey wasn't for you.
Yeah, I thought that off ages ago. So I said, obviously, I invested a bit of money in vans, in a van and tools and all that. So I said I had enough to my missus. She said, "Well, that's fine, but you need to go and get another job." So I was looking around for ages. This is about eight and a half years ago now. It's a long time ago. And Jet2 airline were advertising for dispatchers. 30 hours temporary contract. So I thought, I'll go and do that for a while, see how I get on. And I got that. Did that for 7 months. Got promoted to the station controller position, which is pretty much running all the dispatch team. And about a year later, I got the ramp duty manager job, and that's what I'm doing now. And it's just like that. It's operations, mate, isn't it? It's all you need to do is understand the business that you're in. So that's what I did. I kept low, listened to everything, saw how it was run, because the management of operations, we all know very well how to do. It's just the actual operation itself, what you need to understand.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Understand the business. Yeah.
It's standard scopy business, isn't it, mate? How to run operations. We do that. We've done that for all that many years. So yeah, right. And I thoroughly enjoy it. I was back in a team instead of being up in a frigging loft rewiring someone's downlighters. as interesting as it wasn't, Pinky. Yeah. So yeah, so I'm doing that, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. We've just gone back now. Looks like we're going to be flying by about the 24th of June again, and everything's hopefully going to get back to normal, and things are going to start happening, and people start going back on holiday again. So that'll be great.
Yeah, brilliant. We've got a couple of we've got a few more. There've been quite a few comments here. I'm not going to read them all out, but a few more names that you might recognise that have tuned in tonight. Mike Pierce.
Oh, Paisley, yeah, I remember Mike very well. I think we got to booking about the same time, me and Mike. Yeah, didn't Mike get his? Didn't Mike have his? He had I think he had an XR4i or something like that, and because it was better than CO's car, they started kicking off.
I don't know.
Wasn't there a rule once where you couldn't have a better car than the CO? And Mike Piers had a better car than the CO, and it nearly all went Pete Tong. I might be wrong.
I don't know. I don't know who else we got. Jugsy's on.
Oh, Jugsy. Still pirating
Billy.
videos, Jugsy. Good lad.
We've got Billy's on as well. Billy Billclough.
Oh, Billy. How's your golf, son?
Nick Mounsey, who just said half pint Andy Holmes. That's nice.
Mate, let me tell you about that one because he will love this. He done me like a kipper. So we went up to Buchan on detachment from Neat when we do that bolt hole thing, and we were going out one night. So we all went to the Roxley. We were drinking the Roxley, and they were getting the battle bus to take us into Peterhead. So we're drinking, and literally the bus was going to be there in about 2 minutes. So I said, just give me half, mate. Had half. Unfortunately, Robocop, Nick Mounsey, saw me get off and him and a couple of them started singing, there's only one half pint Holmesy. But not just them, the locals started singing it as well and destroyed me. He's an absolute... No, it's funny. No, seriously, meant some joking. It was funny. He's
trying to make up for it now. It's all going off in the comments now. He's then come back.
He's absolutely correct in that last comment, by the way.
Best FAA ever.
Correct.
Jugsy said. Jugsy's saying Dan Pierce is watching, keeps popping up like a distant threat. He's not
a distant threat with that massive head.
I asked Dan to come on. Do you want? I'll give you. What do you think Dan said when I asked him to come on? Yeah.
Yes, of course he did. Of course he did.
Gary Homewood's on.
Gary Homewood?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Gary, nice to see you, mate. Last time I saw you was in the G, probably about 20 years ago. Nice to see you, mate. Nice to see you still around, pal. Manchester, mate, is the answer.
Yeah, and they add another decade onto that. I think you're talking nearer 30 years.
I went back. It might be 25. I don't know.
There you go. Lots and lots of comments, and a few more on there from. All right, okay. Have we got time for one more? Yeah, let's.
Yeah, go on.
So Mike Piers says, does Spike remember when was the last time somebody called you Spike?
Not Horse calls it me all the time, so probably last week.
All right, okay. He's asked if you remember Alan Mackay throwing a pint over you in the NFL NAFI.
Alan Mackay?
Alan Mackay. Wasn't he a copper?
Threw a pint over me?
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
I don't remember that because it could have happened. I probably had about one cider and can't remember.
There we go. Lots of comments there. Julie, Rachel, Gunn, Archard, Harrison. Said hello as well. She's put Nick in his place. Said stop kissing his bottom, Nick.
He's right then.
And finally, what a great place to end a wonderful chat tonight with a comment from Mr. Large. Andy Holmes, absolute legend of the Scopy world. Loved tonight, gents. So have I.
Dave Large, top man. Thank you.
Isn't he just? Do you know what? I think maybe he's saying that because it's true, but also, guess who my guest is next week?
Is it Dave?
It's Dave.
Shall I just cut and paste his comments and just paste it back next week?
Yeah. Andy, thank you so much for coming on.
Pleasure, mate.
Wonderful. Some great stories from what everybody's saying on the comments here. Everybody's loved it as well. Carl Tranter's come on as well. Loved it. Cheers, guys. Jugsy's thrown a few more comments in. Mate, I'll let you check out the rest of the comments when we come off. But thank you so much for coming
Welcome,
on.
mate.
It's been absolutely brilliant. I'm going to close this for everybody. If you've got 5 minutes, stay in the green room and we'll have a quick chat.
I'll stay in, mate.
We'll say good night to everyone else. Tune in next week. Thank you, everybody, for tonight. That's been a wonderful, wonderful turnout for Mr. Holmes. So thank you all. Thanks to Andy. And we shall see you same time next week. Actually,
cheers, everyone.
I lie. It'll be 8:30 next week, 8:30. See you later. Thank you.